everyone, my name is Mariagrazia Buttitta, and I'm excited to take part in this month's Woman on the Move segment for Bold Blind Beauty. So, I would like to start off by telling you a little bit of my background and what I do. So, I'm a national certified counselor. I'm the author of my memoir titled Now I See How I Battled Blindness, Mental Illness, an Espresso Habit, and Lived to Tell the Tale. I'm also a motivational speaker, an advocate, and I'm a full-time career coach at Monmouth University. I also just happen to live with an eye condition called cone dystrophy. So I would like to start off by telling you a little bit about my journey. I was born and raised in Sicily, and it was very clear to teachers, my parents, and doctors that I wasn't like all the other kids. It was very difficult for me to complete simple tasks such as reading and writing, and I would fall all the time and run over things. Unfortunately, doctors had never had answers for me, and teachers were very quick to label me as someone who was slow and mentally challenged. But I'm very grateful to my parents who never gave up on me, and thankfully, at the age of 14, I received an accurate diagnosis of cone dystrophy. So what is cone dystrophy? Cone dystrophy affects the cone cells in my retina, which is the portion of the eye that helps us see in bright condition. So I experienced a lot of different symptoms. For me, I experienced something called photophobia, which is that abnormal sensitivity to light. And because of that, I wear my sunglasses a lot, and I also experienced day blindness. I'm also legally blind, meaning that I have 2200 vision in dim light. I experience nystagmus, which is a shaking of the eye, color deficiency, which is a type of another type of color blindness. And again, there are different types of color blindness as well out there. I'm able to differentiate colors from light to dark, but colors are all very confusing to me. So, again, I think, cone dystrophy is a bit complex. It sounds very easy and straightforward, but it really isn't. And I think the reason being is because the light and the environment and the new details truly affect the way I see life. Unfortunately, cone dystrophy has created a lot of confusion, and I think blindness in general. I think it's fair to discuss and talk about the fact that, when it comes to blindness, people only assume there's one type of blindness and it's the, typical can't see anything. But a lot of us come together and try to explain to others that blindness isn't a spectrum, right? Similar to the ADHD scale or autistic scale, blindness is on a spectrum, meaning that there are different types of blindness, and no two people are alike, and no two people will experience cone dystrophy the same way. I think for me, the part that's always frustrating is that people have over the years accused me as faking my blindness because maybe I can see some things and not others. Maybe I can do certain things well. I can try and ride my bike at night, but maybe I can't see one foot out, in front of me, or I can't see anything while I'm at the beach, for example. So that could be really frustrating, but I truly have learned to embrace my differences and my diagnosis. I love everything about, this diagnosis. I think it's shaped the person I am today, and certainly I would not want to change it for the world. I guess ways in which I learned to embrace my differences are, self-care is really important to me. Just therapy, family, my friends, my mother, who's been just an incredible rock and support system for me as well, my dogs, and just really doing things that I love to do, like working out, meditating, riding my bike, anything that just makes me really feel really good about myself, right? And really good and careful about what I eat and etc. there was a point in my life where I did hit rock bottom, unfortunately. So I should probably mention that when I was 21 years old, I moved to New Jersey with my parents. And, I was very blessed for this because I, was in contact with the New Jersey Commission for the Blind, and I went to college and, started achieving these great things that I was told I would never be able to accomplish back at home in Italy. But at the same time, I hit a really low point in my life where I started experiencing depression and panic attacks. And, for me, I lived my whole life being told that I was stupid, less than everybody else. And I was being put all these different barriers of everything I couldn't do in my life. So you know, um, I think it was sort of normal for me to kind of, experience some of these emotions. And I think too, there's, for when somebody goes through something really difficult in their life, I think we tend to not want to validate how they're feeling. For me, I remember teachers, would say things like, well, at least until this day, I hear this often, like, well, at least you still have your vision, or, at least you have your arms and legs. So I'm constantly being compared to, yes, it can get worse, right? It can always be worse in life. But I think it's really important that we take the time to listen to people's pain. So as I mentioned, that is why, I truly try to make sure that well-being is on my top priority. So so yeah, if you there's so much more to my journey and my story, and if you're interested in learning more about me, the easiest way is to go on my website, and that's embracingyourdifferences.com. And there you'll be able to, connect with me some more. I'm always eager to share my story with cone dystrophy, mental health struggles. Uh, I'm happy to jump on a podcast or, present or just ways to collaborate and just spread the word about cone dystrophy and mental health. So I want to thank Bold Blind Beauty for this wonderful opportunity. I also want to thank you, the listener, for really taking the time to listen to my story. And I hope I've inspired all of you to share your story because I think it's important that we all come together and we share our own struggles. And, most importantly, my goal is and a takeaway is that I hope you are able to embrace your differences and love yourself as you are. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye.